Barney Stinson lied, cheated, and used people for 9 seasons of How I Met Your Mother. Most people think he got away with all of it. The show was keeping score the whole time, and it made him pay way more often than you remember. Today, we are going over every time a Barney got what he deserved. Number 1, the tape. The smallest kind of payback on this list doesn't cost Barney money, a girlfriend, or even a night out. It just pulls his mask off in front of the only people who don't already know what's under it. Nobody plans it, nobody swings at him. He just gets caught being a version of himself he spent years pretending never existed. In Season 1, Episode 15, the gang gets their hands on an old recording of Barney from before the suits. Long hair, headband, and a guy who wanted to join the Peace Corps and actually help people. He believed in things, he was soft about it, and all 4 of his friends get to sit there and watch the whole thing play. Then it gets worse, because of where that tape came from. A girl named Shannon left him for a guy named Greg, and years later, Lily runs into Shannon, who just hands the thing over.
Oh, she got the tape.
You? It was you?
The recording is Barney trying to win her back, and it ends with Shannon and Greg laughing at him for it. So the gang doesn't only watch him beg, they watch the 2 people he was begging laugh in his face. And the woman who kept that tape sitting around for years is the one who decided his friends should finally see it. What makes this land is that Barney lies to strangers every night without blinking. Fake names, fake jobs, fake entire lives. The one place none of that works is the booth with his 4 friends in it. And this is the night they find out the confident guy in the suit was built on top of somebody who got wrecked. That one only bruises his pride, and he's fine again by the next episode. The next one goes after something he actually needs. Number 2, the Super Bowl number. Some of Barney's punishments come from other people. This one comes from his own plan working exactly the way he designed it. That's the trap he keeps walking into. He builds systems for meeting women, and every so often, the show just turns one of those systems all the way up and lets him drown in it. In Season 5, he gets his phone number on screen during the Super Bowl. Millions of people watching, and his number sitting right there in front of all of them. To him, that's the dream, because his whole approach has always been about volume. More women, more chances, more wins. Then the phone starts ringing, and it doesn't stop. He gets buried. So many calls come in that he can't sort out who's actually interested, can't tell one woman from another, and can't do a single useful thing with any of it. He has more chances than he's ever had in his life, and he ends up with nothing, because the numbers game only works if you can still tell the numbers apart. The joke is that nobody had to beat him. He didn't get outsmarted or set up or lied to. He just got the exact thing he asked for at full blast, and it turned out his whole method falls apart the second it succeeds too well. That one costs him one night and a phone. The next one takes away something he doesn't think he can live without. Number 3, the yips.
The yips? Yeah, when you overthink simple things so much that you can't do them at all.
This brand of payback is the type Barney would probably trade anything to avoid because it doesn't come from a person, a bet, or a plan. It's the show quietly taking the one skill his entire personality sits on and letting him stand there without it. And it works because he doesn't just have a talent, he has a whole identity stacked on top of that talent. Season 3, Episode 10 is the cleanest version of it. Barney gets into a Victoria's Secret party, which for him is basically the championship game, and he completely locks up. He can't approach anybody. He starts second-guessing lines he has used 1,000 times, and the more he thinks about it, the worse he gets. The guy who treats talking to women like a science experiment suddenly can't run the experiment. To fix it, he has to go back to Rhonda, the older woman tied to where all that confidence came from in the first place. He doesn't lose to a rival or a scheme here, he loses to himself. And the only way out is admitting out loud that he wasn't born like this, that somebody made him this way, and that it can be taken back. I'll be fair about one thing though. A lot of Barney's origin story comes to us through Ted telling this to his kids 20 years later, and Ted is not exactly a court reporter. The show messes with the details of Barney's past on purpose more than once. The specific version of how he became this guy is shaky, but the pattern behind it holds up. Losing your touch for one night wears off by morning. When another person decides to get him, it lasts a lot longer than that. Number 4, the prank war. Now we get into payback that somebody actually built, and the first rule of Barney's friends is that they can find the one thing that actually reaches him, which almost nobody else manages. Strangers can embarrass him. His friends know where to aim. In season 6, Marshall leaves the bank to go do environmental work, and Barney does what Barney always does. He mocks him for it. Not once, not gently, but constantly, treating a guy like a joke for picking something he believes in over money. So the two of them end up in a full prank war, and Marshall goes straight for the only thing Barney genuinely cares about. He starts getting in the way of Barney's hookups, ruining his nights on purpose, and it works better than anything else anyone has ever tried on him. Barney answers by doing disgusting things to Marshall's belongings, so I'll be honest with you, nobody in that fight has clean hands by the end. But Marshall figured out the pressure point first, and it's the same one every woman on this list ends up pressing. And then there's the meatball sub, which shows you what these fights actually do to Barney. It starts because Marshall points out marinara sauce on his suit. That's it. That's the crime. So Barney spends months secretly building an exploding meatball sub to get him back for a stain, and then Marshall quits the bank on the exact day he was going to use it.
An exploding meatball sub.
Barney holds onto that thing for 10 years, a whole decade carrying a grudge over sauce, before he finally gets to set it off in Marshall's face. Marshall pointed at a suit and moved on with his life the same afternoon. Barney turned it into a 10-year project, which tells you exactly who's suffering more in these things. And it isn't the guy who ate the sub. Losing a prank war is one thing when both guys are throwing punches. The next one is different because he loses a bet he was actively cheating at. Number 5, the ducky tie. Barney doesn't bet. He arranges wins and calls them bets. That's the move he runs on his friends over and over, and it works right up until the moment they see it coming and decide not to say anything. This is the first time somebody runs a longer con on him than the one he was running. In season 7, episode 3, Barney bets Marshall and Lily that he can pull off the chef tricks at a hibachi place, acting like it's a total coin flip. It isn't. He has been training for 6 months, learning the entire routine and quietly setting Marshall up so that Marshall would be the one asking to go to that restaurant. Lily figures it out, and instead of calling the whole thing off, they just let him keep believing he's got it locked. Then they change the last part of the deal on him at the very end. He loses.
This was his plan all along. He let us think he knows how to do all this shinjitsu stuff, just so he could get you out here, whipping out your milk makers.
The price is wearing Marshall's duck pattern tie for a full year. In public, everywhere. While dressed in the suits he cares about more than almost anything. Then he makes it so much worse. A couple months later, he needs that tie off before meeting Nora's parents, and the only thing Marshall will accept in trade is slaps. So Barney hands over 3 more, on top of everything he already owed, and Marshall uses 2 of them right there on the spot. Read that back. He traded his way out of a tie and into more of the exact punishment he'd been running from for years. That's not bad luck. That's a guy who cannot stop making deals, even when every single deal he's ever made has gone badly for him. That one he agreed to, which makes it easier to take. The next one gets him because his friends knew what he wanted better than he did. Number 6. The bro mitzvah. The strangest kind of payback in this show is the kind where his friends hurt him on purpose and it turns out to be a present. It happens more than once, and it says a lot about why nothing ever really sticks to this guy. His punishments keep getting wrapped in a bow at the last second. In season 8, the gang throws Barney a bachelor party as payback for the ones he threw them, and they go all the way with it. He's convinced Marshall has been seriously hurt. He's convinced Robin has called off the wedding. He believes the entire night and possibly his whole life has fallen apart, and he sits in that feeling for hours while everyone watches him squirm. Then it turns out the whole thing was staged, every bit of it. And here's the twist that explains the entire show's relationship with this character. The disaster was the gift. A bachelor party that goes completely off the rails is exactly what Barney secretly wanted, and his friends knew that.
To give you everything you wanted for your bachelor party without you even realizing it.
So they built him a fake catastrophe on purpose. When he finds out, he's thrilled. So he gets scared, humiliated, and lied to for a full night, and he ends up thanking them for it. Revenge and a birthday cake at the same time. That's the pattern that keeps showing up here. Every punishment has a soft landing built into it, and Barney always walks away with his life arranged exactly the way it was before. The next one is the most famous punishment in the entire show. It's also the one people misunderstand the most. Number 7. The slap bet. Some payback gets dropped on you out of nowhere, this kind you have to sign for first. It only shows up when somebody is so sure they're right that they'll put their own face on the line to prove it, and then loses anyway. And the worst part isn't the hit, it's that once you agree to the terms, the other guy gets to pick the moment, and he is never in a hurry. It starts in Season 2, Episode 9, when the gang finds out Robin is hiding something big from her past. Marshall thinks she was secretly married. Barney thinks she did adult films. They bet on it, and Marshall gets so impatient waiting for proof that he slaps Barney before anybody knows anything, which is against the rules, so Barney gets 3 shots back. Then Barney turns around and does the exact same thing when his own theory falls apart. Lily, running it as the official commissioner, gives him a choice. 10 slaps right now and it's finished, or 5 slaps that Marshall can use whenever he feels like it, forever.
Either 10 slaps right now in a row, or 5 slaps that can be doled out at any point from here to eternity.
Barney takes the 5, he looks at a deal where the pain ends in 15 seconds and decides he'd rather stretch it across the rest of his life, because taking 10 in a row in front of everybody would mean admitting he lost badly. That single choice is the whole character, and it cost him way more than the 10 ever would have. You see the bill come due the next Thanksgiving. Marshall sets up a countdown clock, and Barney spends the entire holiday useless, unable to eat, unable to focus, checking the timer, and trying to talk his way out of a deal he wrote himself into. Later on, Marshall hands his slapping rights to Ted and Robin like concert tickets. So Barney has to sit there while 2 people who also have reasons to be mad at him argue over who gets to swing. And fans have argued for years about whether that first ruling was even fair, which is a real point. Marshall slapped early too, and all he paid was 3 shots back. Barney did the same thing and got a sentence that followed him for 7 seasons. If you're only judging the actual crime, those don't match. The reason most people still call it deserved has nothing to do with the bet at all, and everything to do with what he was doing while that clock ran. Because every punishment so far has been about a bet or a prank between friends. The next one is the first time the show puts his real behavior on trial. Number 8, the bracket. Barney treats women like they stop existing the second he's finished with them. That's not me reading into it. That's the actual system he runs, and it only works if none of them ever come back. This is what happens when one of them refuses to disappear, and it hits harder than any slap, because she doesn't have to make anything up. She just has to tell the truth about him to the right people. In Season 3, Episode 14, Barney's whole operation starts failing at once. Every woman he approaches has already been warned. Somebody is getting there first, telling them exactly what he is, and it works every single time. So the gang does the only thing they can think of and builds a tournament bracket out of the women he's mistreated, trying to narrow it down to one suspect. And that's the joke that quietly says everything.
The top 64 women I've slept with, split into 4 regions. This tournament will systematically narrow down which girl has the most cause to hate my guts.
They cannot narrow it down. There are so many people with a real reason to want him miserable that a full bracket isn't enough. And both Barney and his friends have to admit out loud that the list is too long. Lily even floats the idea that this is just what happens when you spend years lying to people, which is about as close as the show gets to reading him his charges. Then it turns physical. He goes back through his old scams, hitting the places where he ran his best lies, hoping to find whoever's doing this, and he gets slapped at stop after stop by women who remember him perfectly. He even tracks down someone he's certain is behind it and gives her a full apology. And it turns out she has nothing to do with any of it. She just hates him for her own separate reasons. That's the part he can't argue his way out of. He apologized to the wrong woman, and it still made complete sense. The bracket gets him because it's huge and vague, a pile of old grudges with no faces on them. The person actually behind it is much smaller than that, and much harder for him to laugh off. Number 9, Abby. The reason the bracket works as comedy is that it's a crowd. Crowds are easy to shrug at. What actually gets under Barney's skin is one specific person with one specific complaint, because he can talk his way around a pile of strangers, and he cannot talk his way around a name. The one wrecking his hookups is Abby. He slept with her, and then didn't remember her at all. That's it. That's the whole crime. And there is no version of that sentence where he comes out looking okay. She doesn't stop after the bracket either. A few episodes later, she's still out there getting to women before he does. And now she's got Ted with her, because Ted has his own bill to collect after Barney slept with Robin. The two of them fake an entire relationship and stage a proposal right in front of him. Barney watches it happen, and he is genuinely, visibly upset, which is exactly the payoff Ted wanted. Barney can handle losing. What he can't handle is somebody else winning where he has to watch. Then Abby reads his reaction as him actually wanting her, which drags the whole thing somewhere nobody planned. A lot of fans point at Abby as the single cleanest example of Barney getting what he had coming, and I think they're right. She has a name, a face, a recent night, and one simple grievance he can't spin. Forgetting somebody completely doesn't sound good in any accent, in any suit, with any catchphrase attached. Abby got him from the outside, guessing at how he works. The next one comes from somebody who has known him for years, and she doesn't have to guess at anything. Number 10. Of course. When you've watched somebody run the same routine for years, you don't have to outsmart them. You just have to know what they want badly enough, leave it out in the open, and wait. Strangers can only take shots at Barney. The people close to him can build traps. Season 5. Episode 17 is the best one they ever build. Barney has just come out of things with Robin, and instead of dealing with any of that, he starts bragging about how many women he's been with since. Loudly, in front of her. So Robin finds Anita Appleby, who wrote a book about turning men down, and asks her to run the play on him. Anita says yes to everything except the one thing Barney is actually after over and over until he's losing his mind. He responds the only way he knows how, which is by pulling Ted in to help him build the biggest date in the history of the show. Helicopter, orchestra, the whole production, all of it aimed at one night with Anita. But the date isn't the part that matters. Robin finally tells him what the bragging actually did to her, and the way she puts it makes clear this was never about sex at all. He got hurt, so he made noise about other women where the person who hurt him could hear it, and it landed exactly as hard as he wanted it to.
Don't you see how constantly talking about your conquest makes me feel like I'm just another number to you?
But you're not just...
And then Barney apologizes. Not a bit, not an angle, an actual apology. Then he calls off Anita and hands the entire night to Robin and the guy she's seeing. Every dollar of it. He built the most expensive plan of his life to win a game, and he ends up giving it away to the person he hurt. That's what separates this time from every prank in the show. Anita is just the tool. Robin is the one who made him look at what he'd done, and she's the only person all season who gets him to admit any of it out loud. Robin beat him by knowing him. The next woman beat him without knowing him at all, using nothing but the exact method he invented. Number 11. Karma. This is what happens when the show hands Barney's own playbook to somebody else and lets them run it back at him while he stands there thinking he's winning. He's not just losing here. He's losing and enjoying it, right up until the moment his friends have to explain what's been happening to him. In Season 7, Episode 18, Barney starts chasing a woman named Quinn without ever realizing he's already met her at the Lusty Leopard, where she works. She knows exactly who he is, exactly what he does, and exactly which buttons to press. So she lets him keep believing he's closing, and every single time, it costs him money. Cash, gifts, whatever she asks for, over and over, while he brags about how well it's going. It takes the gang sitting him down and spelling it out before he understands that he's the mark. And fans caught the detail that makes it perfect, which is that her stage name at the club is Karma. The guy who spent 6 seasons running fake identities on women to get what he wanted got taken for his money, on repeat, by a woman literally named Karma. The show doesn't even hide it. It's right there in the episode title. I want to be straight with you about the follow-up, because a lot of videos get this wrong. There's an episode after this where Quinn looks like she's completely steamrolling him, controlling everything he does and performing for every person in the room except him. It plays like her running up the score. It isn't. That whole thing is a con the two of them cooked up together to mess with the gang, and calling it payback would be lying to you about what actually happened. Everything up to this point ends with Barney fine. The slaps stop, the cons get explained, the party turns out to be a present, and he walks away with his life exactly the way it was. The last one doesn't work like that, nobody's laughing at the end of it, and nothing gets handed back. Number 12. Tick, tick, tick. No bracket, no bet, no slap, no group meeting in a booth to plan anything. That's what makes this last one different from everything else on the list. Nobody sets a trap and nobody swings at him. Barney runs the same play he's been running for 9 seasons, and this time the show just doesn't step in to soften it. And the worst part, the part that actually hurts to watch is that he's holding the knife himself. Season 7, Episode 10, Barney is with Nora, one of the only women he ever seriously tried to drop the lies for and do the normal relationship thing with. And Robin is with Kevin. They sleep together anyway. Then they agree to go tell their partners, and Barney actually does it. He doesn't get caught, he doesn't get exposed, nobody rats him out. He walks into that conversation on his own and tells Nora the truth, which is genuinely the most grown-up thing he does in the whole series.
I cheated on you.
I don't even know how to react.
It ends the relationship anyway. Nora is done, and honestly, why wouldn't she be? And then comes the part that turns a breakup into a punishment because Robin doesn't leave Kevin. She stays. So Barney gives up one of the few real relationships he'd ever managed to build, does it the honest way, and walks out with nothing at all. He didn't trade up, he just lost. He does the same thing to himself with Quinn a season later, and people misremember why. It wasn't because she was a stripper. They get engaged, and Barney writes a prenup that isn't about money at all. It's a list of rules about how she has to look and how she has to behave. Protection from a woman he supposedly wants to marry. She comes back with her own list, and by the end, the real problem is sitting on the table between them, which is that neither one of them trusts the other even a little. Two people who are great at reading a mark can't build anything because they can't stop reading each other. Then he marries Robin, and it lasts 3 years. The divorce isn't framed as his punishment, and it wouldn't be fair to sell it that way. Robin's work takes her everywhere. Barney is unhappy with the life they're actually living, and they both decide it isn't working. 2 people made that marriage, and 2 people ran out of ways to keep it going. But after the divorce, he goes straight back. Same bar, same suits, same routine, running a perfect month like nothing happened and nothing was learned. That's where every consequence in this video finally gets weighed, and the honest answer is that not one of them changed him. The slaps didn't. The bracket didn't. Getting robbed by a woman named Karma didn't. Losing Nora didn't. Losing Robin sent him right back to where he started, which is somehow worse than doing nothing. And then one of those nights turns into a daughter. Ellie isn't a punishment, and I'm not going to call her one because that's not what the show is doing. She's a consequence nobody planned, including him. But she's the only thing in 9 seasons that sticks. He holds her, and the man who spent his entire adult life making sure nobody could ever mean anything to him just stops. No bet, no bracket, no scheme, no plan. Every single person who ever tried to teach Barney Stinson a lesson failed, and the one who finally got through never even had to try. If you want more breakdowns like this one, subscribe and check out that video on screen now.